When a woman loses interest, she rarely just walks away immediately. Instead, she runs a few silent tests first, and your reactions to these tests will decide whether the attraction recovers or quietly disappears forever. If you've ever felt her energy shift and couldn't quite explain why, this video is going to hit home. Stay with me. Dr. Eva Danial here, men's health expert. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 subtle tests women run when attraction starts slipping, why arguing or over-explaining always backfires, and exactly how men accidentally fail these tests without even realizing they're being tested at all. By the end of this video, you'll stop guessing and start seeing the shift before it costs you the relationship. Let's jump right in. Test number 5, the availability test. When a woman starts losing interest, her availability becomes uneven. She's slower to reply, she has less time, and plans start to feel tentative. Yet, at the same time, she still expects access to you. She wants you available when it suits her, but she's no longer offering the same consistency in return. And here's the thing, this isn't always intentional. It often happens unconsciously as her certainty about you begins to fade. This is the availability test. What she's really testing isn't your schedule, it's your standards. Most men fail this test by staying fully available while receiving less and less effort from her. They reply instantly, keep their schedule wide open, and prioritize her even when she's clearly no longer prioritizing them in return. They believe that consistency will win her back. But let me tell you something. Consistency without reciprocity does not build attraction. It weakens it. Attraction fades when a man shows that access to him doesn't change regardless of how he's being treated. Passing this test is all about self-respect. A grounded man doesn't punish her with silence or make a big show of being busy. He simply doesn't overextend himself when the connection no longer justifies it. He matches reality. If communication slows down, he doesn't chase it. If plans become inconsistent, he doesn't reorganize his entire life around uncertainty. If effort drops, he notices and quietly adjusts. That adjustment is quiet, not announced, but it's felt. This is what creates polarity. When a woman senses that access to you isn't guaranteed, but also isn't withdrawn in anger, something shifts. She feels the weight of her own inconsistency. The moment she realizes you're choosing her and not just orbiting her, attraction has room to return. Men who fail this test often say things like, I was always there for her and she still pulled away. Yeah, because being endlessly available removed all the tension and anticipation from the dynamic. Desire needs contrast. Interest needs consequence. The availability test isn't about being hard to reach. It's about being appropriately reachable. You're present when invited, engaged when effort is mutual, and not overinvested when reciprocity is missing. That balance communicates confidence without confrontation. This test appears when a woman is deciding whether you're the man she chooses or just the man she can access without choosing. How you handle availability during this phase determines the role you'll fall into. Test number 4, the replacement test. When a woman starts losing interest, she'll sometimes introduce another man into the conversation. It might sound casual, harmless, even unintentional. She mentions a coworker, an old friend, an ex she randomly ran into, or the guy who helped her with something small. Nothing about it seems dramatic, and that's exactly the point. This is the replacement test. She's not trying to make you jealous in obvious ways. She's actually observing how secure you are in your own position. Listen carefully. You'll fail this test the moment you react emotionally to it. Don't ask questions you don't really want answers to. Don't change your tone, and don't try to subtly prove your value. Even mild reactions communicate the same thing. Threat detected. Attraction weakens when a woman feels that your confidence is dependent on exclusivity rather than self-assurance. Passing this test doesn't mean pretending you don't care. It means not allowing comparison to rattle you. A grounded man doesn't compete with ghosts. He doesn't interrogate, he doesn't dismiss her experience aggressively, and he doesn't change his posture. He stays exactly the same, and that consistency is powerful. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to be stated. It's felt in how little you change when uncertainty is introduced. Here's the important distinction. If she's already emotionally gone, the replacement test will turn into replacement behavior. If she's uncertain, the test is more of a probe. She's watching whether you'll collapse into insecurity or remain steady. The moment you try to prove your worth, you shift the dynamic. You go from being the chooser to auditioning. And once a man starts auditioning, attraction doesn't recover. This is why some women say things like, "I don't know why, but I just stopped feeling it." They felt the shift when your confidence cracked. Passing this test looks uneventful from the outside. You acknowledge what she says without tension. A calm response communicates something powerful. I'm comfortable with myself, with or without competition. And paradoxically, that's what often reignites attraction. The replacement test isn't about jealousy. It's about self-trust. A woman will stay attracted to a man who doesn't need to be the only option to feel secure. She'll stay because he feels like a choice, not a position under threat. Listen, if one of these tests feels painfully familiar, please hit the like button. It tells me you want more content that actually prepares you for real relationships. And if you want to stop guessing what women are thinking, subscribe to the channel. I break down this kind of stuff every single week. Test number 3, the pullback test. When a woman starts pulling back, most men feel it before they can explain it. The texts slow down, the warmth fades a little. She's still there, but not fully there. Nothing obvious has happened, yet the energy feels different. That shift alone is enough to make any man uneasy, and I understand that. But this is where the pullback test begins. The pullback test is about emotional stability. On a subconscious level, she's asking a very simple question. If I step back a little, will he stay grounded, or does he lose his center? When a man reacts to the pullback by chasing reassurance, he's unintentionally communicating that her attention is what keeps him emotionally steady. At that point, attraction begins to weaken. It has nothing to do with the fact that you care, and everything to do with whether your sense of self feels dependent on her. Attraction doesn't disappear when a man wants closeness. It disappears when closeness turns into pressure. Passing this test doesn't mean ignoring her or playing games. It doesn't mean acting cold or distant. It means not overreacting to uncertainty. You notice the change, but you don't spiral. You keep your routine. You respond normally when she reaches out, and you don't interrogate the silence or demand clarity before she's ready to give it. That calm response does something powerful. It shows that you enjoy her presence, but you're not destabilized by the space. Women are extremely sensitive to emotional pressure, even when it's subtle. The moment she feels responsible for managing your anxiety, attraction starts to drain. She may not even realize why. She'll just feel it. This is why men often say, "The more I tried, the worse it got." Because effort applied at the wrong moment feels like pressure, not care. The pullback test lives in the middle ground. She's not fully gone, but she's not fully certain either. How you respond determines which way things go. If you chase, explain, or seek reassurance, you push her further away. If you stay grounded and allow space without resentment, she'll often feel safe enough to move closer again. The irony is that doing less emotionally is sometimes what restores attraction. Test number 2, the emotional labor test. When a woman starts losing interest, one of the first things that quietly shifts is how she uses you emotionally. She talks more about her stress, vents more, unloads more frustrations, complaints, and worries. But notice this carefully. She's not necessarily asking for solutions, guidance, or even change. She's watching how much emotional weight you're willing to carry without boundaries. This is the emotional labor test. Most men misunderstand this test completely because they think being endlessly available makes them a better partner. So they listen longer, absorb more, try to fix her mood, and become the place where everything heavy gets dropped. At first, it might feel good. It might even feel like intimacy. But over time, it creates an imbalance. When a man takes on too much emotional labor, he stops feeling like a partner and starts feeling like an emotional container. Attraction fades because he's carrying more than his share. This is where men fail. They believe that supporting her means absorbing everything without limit. They confuse presence with self-sacrifice. But emotional leadership requires staying stable while she processes her own issues. A grounded man listens without drowning, offers perspective without trying to rescue, and stays calm without becoming responsible for fixing her. Women feel safest and most attracted when a man can be emotionally present without being emotionally consumed. The moment she senses that her stress is destabilizing you, she'll start to lose respect. This is why some men notice a strange shift. The more emotionally available they become, the less desired they feel. It's not availability that hurts attraction. It's over-functioning. Passing this test means knowing when to listen and when to genuinely step back and let things be instead of absorbing everything. Sometimes the most attractive response isn't fixing, solving, or carrying. It's staying grounded and letting her regulate herself. This test usually shows up when a woman is deciding whether you're a stable partner or someone she'll eventually outgrow emotionally. How you handle it determines whether she leans in or slowly disengages. Test number 1, the disrespect probe. When a woman starts losing interest, disrespect rarely shows up as something obvious, in your face, or aggressive. It shows up in small moments that are easy to dismiss. Interrupting you when you're talking, canceling plans last minute without much consideration, making jokes at your expense, and watching your reaction. Individually, none of these seem like a big deal, and that's why the test is so effective. The disrespect probe isn't about the behavior itself. It's about whether you notice it and how you respond. Men fail this test by doing one of two things. They laugh it off to avoid tension, or they over-explain why it bothers them. Both responses send the same message. I'll tolerate small losses of respect to avoid discomfort. Attraction doesn't disappear because of conflict. It disappears when a woman realizes you won't protect your own self-respect. Here's the key distinction. Standing up for yourself doesn't require anger, lectures, or emotional reactions. It requires calm, aware correction. A grounded man doesn't ignore disrespect, and he doesn't escalate it. He addresses it lightly, clearly, and without emotion. That response communicates strength without needing to prove anything. When a man lets small disrespect slide repeatedly, something shifts inside her. She may not consciously think, I respect him less, but she'll feel it. And once that respect drops, attraction follows. This is why some men are confused when relationships change without a clear reason. They weren't disrespected once. They were disrespected in small ways that went unaddressed. The disrespect probe is a test of self-regard. If you notice it and respond calmly, the behavior often stops. If you ignore it, it usually increases. Passing this test means recognizing patterns and responding when your self-respect is being tested. Here's the truth most men miss. Women don't lose interest suddenly. We lose interest slowly. And these tests are how we decide whether to stay emotionally invested or quietly detach. The moment you understand these patterns, everything changes. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing and start choosing. And that shift, that internal recalibration, is what brings attraction back. These tests aren't meant to trick you. They're meant to reveal who you really are under pressure. A woman wants to know, are you grounded or reactive, confident or insecure, self-respecting or approval-seeking? Your answers to these questions, given through your behavior, determine whether she stays or leaves. Remember, attraction isn't built on grand gestures or perfect words. It's built on consistency, self-respect, emotional stability, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth. When you embody these qualities, you don't need to chase anyone. You become the kind of man women choose to stay with. If this video opened your eyes to something you've been missing, do me a favor, share it with another man who needs to hear this. We don't talk about this stuff enough, And that silence costs too many good men their relationships. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let me know in the comments which test hit you the hardest. I read every single one. My name is Dr. Eva Danial, men's health expert. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Remember, you deserve a relationship where you're chosen, not just tolerated. Don't settle for less. Cheers.